is your host, Cain Stevens. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Cain Stevens Super Show. I am your host once again, Cain Stevens, if you didn't already know. And this is my super show. I've got another super guest on my hands. He's a guy who I know personally. I'm friends with him. I called him Chuck for a long time, which was really strange because that isn't his name. But I'll explain that later. And I swear I do know this guy. So with that being said, let's go ahead and give an applause to our friend, not so mean, Gene Main, everybody. All right, Gene, how are you, man? Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm doing good.
So you're just getting off of work. I don't know if you want to talk about that at all, but I think it's interesting. You're the milkman, aren't you? You do
Yep.
milk delivery and all that. That's how long have you been doing that?
34 years.
34 years. And
Yeah.
in all that time you've been into fitness, right?
Yep.
Keeping up on your strength, your cardio. Um, you're a little bit older than me, obviously. And I mean, obviously, by the fact that you know, I mean, there's just a mild difference there. But how young are you?
I'll be 58 on the 29th of this month.
And if you those of you guys, if you've ever seen Gene in his natural environment, out in the gym and everything, you would have no idea that Gene is the age that he is because he's pushing weight like like crazy stuff, man. Like I mean, he's been personally helping me and training me. I have heart problems. I've been open with the audience about that, and it's been kind of a challenge to get things going. But since I started working with Gene and doing different stuff with my diet, walking every day. I won't say I'm perfect, but I mean I've dropped about 50 pounds now, and I continue to struggle, but I'm doing the best I can. But I owe a lot of my success to just the initial me going to the gym with Gene and him showing me kind of what I should do with my current condition. So Gene, when did you start working out? I mean, did you always do it? Did you do it when were you a farm kid that was
No,
strong? Like, when did
I've
you do all this?
I just had a cousin that I looked up to as a kid, and at 12 years old, he got me into weightlifting,
Hmm.
doing his supplements, amino acids, all that stuff, working out, and I idolized him, and that was my life from then on out, just trying to be like him, working
Absolutely.
out, getting strong.
Well, and like you and I have talked, I mean, there's something about, I was an athlete, I was an athlete from the second I could pick up a ball on. And I was kind of a fat kid, but I was like a strong fat kid, I could move fast. I was good at all
Mhm.
the sports I played. I was
Right,
just God gave me the ability to play ball. And I ran with it. I too loved weightlifting. My brother was big into it, and when I saw him and all the monsters that I idolized, I was like, how do I get to be like that level? And
right.
it comes with a lot of work. I mean, you
Yep.
can't just some people are natural at it. Like, for example, at Lincoln High, we had a guy who had never played football before. He was an excellent basketball player. I think he's the current coach right now, Richie
Right,
Ross. And he came out for football, and he was just phenomenal in as a wide receiver, like a Hall of Famer.
right,
And I mean, sometimes you hit the lottery with that type of stuff. The rest of us schlubs like myself, we got to really work at it. Um,
right.
and with that comes weight training and running and everything. But as we get older, we start to let that go, don't we? We start to eat what we want. We get comfortable with sitting on our butts and all that. But you
Yep.
don't do that. I mean, you work these ridiculous hours. The reason I brought up the milk route and everything, you work some pretty crazy hours, and yet you still come home and lift every day.
I do. I started roughly early 20s doing what I'm doing, and I've always worked out for sports and doing all that. And then when I took on this job, it's a physical job. I work 12, 16 hours a day,
Yeah.
you know, and I go in at 1 o'clock in the morning, get off sometimes 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And um, instead of using my job as my physical workout, I've always trained for sports. And so what I started doing is just started lifting to stay in shape for my job. And it's helped me out,
Yeah.
gave me a good career, and, keeps me having relatively few injuries, and I'm still strong and looked at like I'm crazy.
Yeah.
But, the working out actually has benefited me in my job.
Well, what do you're lifting like big old crates and all that stuff, right? I mean,
Yep.
boxes and so I mean, you're
Gallon of
you're
milk.
lugging some. How much weight would you say like a crate of milk would be?
Well, a gallon of milk is roughly 10 pounds. So 4 gallons per case makes 40 pounds. But then when you got like Dairy Queen mix or 5 gallon bags, your
Yeah.
cases can go up anywhere from 60 to 70 pounds a case.
So
And
do they test you yearly like to make sure that you're up for the still up for the job or like your body's still good to go?
no, I mean, they don't test me, but I get a lot of, I don't know, I get a lot of respect from the drivers, the younger drivers that are younger than me. And
Yeah.
the joke at the dairy is I'm stronger sick than they are healthy.
Yeah.
But
I believe it, man. I've been to the gym with you, man. So you kind of morphed into this where you're kind of doing like training for people too on the side and you're trying to help people, friends, family, really anybody who wants to listen. You're trying to help people to get them with a good plan that works, correct?
yep, I am. I'm a health maniac since, you know, hence my name and my uh, email address and all that stuff, maniac.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, I'm a no excuse person, so I work, like I said, 16 hours a day, and I still lift. And I want to encourage other people, whatever level they're on, they don't have to do my level.
Right.
But I've always wanted to help people, and I have a passion for that. And now that I'm getting toward, the end of doing my job for 34 years, I'd kind of like to, make that my um, career for the rest of my life, is helping people out. I mean, I've helped people out, but really never charged anybody. I just have a desire and a passion to help people kind of achieve what I have. I'm 58 and I'm in good shape, and God's blessed me.
Absolutely. And hopefully you'll get to the point where you can have the business side of it, maybe you don't have to work so hard doing the other thing and you can I know that this is your passion because I've talked to you about it. But I mean,
Right.
you've had some hardships and you've worked your way through it. I mean, we all have injuries. I just had shoulder surgery last year and when I started working with you, you kind of helped me kind of work it out a little bit. And I mean, now I
Right.
have like full range of motion. And honestly, the stuff I did with you helped me more than like the physical therapy. Like physical therapy was like torture. Like because I
Right.
had a frozen shoulder, I had all this stuff, and they just kept like, and I'm not knocking them, they do a good job, but I mean, it was just like everything I did with you at the gym worked it out completely. Like now I can reach over my head and I can do all this stuff. So I really,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd be a true testament for anybody, given my circumstances. I wasn't using excuses either, like I took your example of I don't have any excuse not to get off my butt
Right.
and do something if I want any longevity out of this broken body that I already have. So, but I watch your videos on TikTok, and man, I mean, you're getting after it. You know what I saw
Yeah.
one guy comment, like, man, somebody come get your grandpa or something because,
Right.
and I thought it was hilarious because I mean, they're just like, here's this older guy pushing more weight than most guys, his
Right.
and you've done some competitions too, correct?
Yep. Yeah. I started doing, a guy got me into, I deliver milk to a school, and the pastor of the school, Steve Davenport,
Mhm.
big power lifter, always told me I should take my passion to a different level. And so he started working with me and helping me train. And, I appreciated setting the goals to a different way of lifting and, keeping myself motivated to stay in shape and not, ever quit. So I got into powerlifting and you know, I mean, I feel pretty good about what I've accomplished through that.
And he's a
And I
good
can
guy to
still
have on
do,
your
yeah.
side, you know. I mean, he's a, world champion in powerlifting.
Yep. He just got
He's
back
an
from
animal, man.
Angola. Yep.
I love
He's,
watching both of you guys' videos because both of you guys are pushing the limits on things, like, pushing the human body way further than you should.
yeah, he's pushing me hard. I had my shoulder surgery 4 years ago, and I'm starting to feel a little bit better with that. That total reconstructive of my shoulder, full labrum tear, and
Yeah.
3/4 supraspinatus, and a 3/4 teres minor, and I lost my bicep tendon in an accident at work, and lacerated elbow tendon, and I've been able to rehab myself back past that, and I'm feeling pretty good about competition. And now Steve caught a video of mine doing 250-pound deadlifts for 20 reps, and he said I need to get back into it.
Yeah. He's he's always encouraging somebody. Shout out to Pastor Steve at Parkview Christian here in Lincoln. He's a good friend of mine. I go to lunch with him, once a month. We just kind of yeah, it's weird because it's when you look at a pastor or somebody like that, and you wonder, like, what do you talk about with that guy? I mean, him and we talk about, Star Trek and all this nerdy stuff that we're into. Boxing.
Yeah,
Boxing's not nerdy. Boxing's pretty cool, but he's a great guy, man, and he's a good guy to have in your corner.
yep.
So what do you want to do with especially for my listeners in the Lincoln area? Gene is here in Lincoln. What do you want to do over time with this business idea of yours? I mean, do you want to be like a personal trainer someday? What do you want to do?
Well, I'm a life coach, health coach as well, and the personal training I think is a good complement to that. So I think my goal is I just want to help people out, no excuses. I don't expect people to compete or lift at my level, but I think I have a paradigm that I live by, and there's a diet for everybody and there's a workout program for everybody. I mean, I encourage people to set their goals, and my thing is I want to help those people achieve their goals, diet, weight wise, lifting, whatever it is they want to do. But I want to try to make it easy for them and not, if you don't want to be a bodybuilder, you don't have to lift like a bodybuilder. You don't want to be a power lifter, don't lift. If you just want to get in shape, I have a workout and I can help you out. I mean, what I want people to know is that my true heart and passion is in helping them achieve that, because, there's so many things you can avoid by keeping yourself in shape, the diseases, the, joint issues, knee replacements, hip replacements. Once you start getting all those kind of things, then your life really changes and it's hard to recover from that. But I just want to be able to help people recover from any of that or prevent those things and live a good life. I'm 58. I feel good. I'm energetic. I do a lot of things with my kids. I mean, that's the big thing for me is being active with my kids. I'm a grandson and I want to do that late into life, and you can't achieve that. It's a lifestyle, it's habit change, but it can be achieved, and I'd like to be able to help people do that.
Well, I think the key is what you're showing people. The key is just to keep moving, right? Because I
Right.
mean, it's
Just,
kind of an old cliche, but it's so true. Like when older people say, like, once you stop moving, you die. Well, I don't know about that, but once you stop moving, I mean, your mobility, everything changes. You get lazy, you eat like garbage
yeah,
and everything. I know before I met you, I was trying DDP yoga, which I don't know if you've ever, Diamond Dallas Page was a wrestler, and he
right,
started this like a different type of yoga. But it
right,
was the main thing about it that it worked was like it gets people moving at any age. Like he has chair yoga, all that stuff,
yep,
and you're kind of doing the same thing. You're just getting people to get off their butts. Like you don't and we don't mean that in a insulting way. It's just getting
No,
old is hard, you know. Getting older
it is.
is hard for it. You wake up with pains. I mean, if I sleep the wrong way, like we have a memory foam bed, I'll wake
Hmm.
up and my back will be in a giant knot. And you know, I'll barely be able to get up. And it's like if I don't get moving around during the day, I mean, I'm shot the whole day. So, you know, just what for me, since I have heart issues, I try to walk about, you know, 20 to 30 minutes a day, you know,
Right.
and watch my diet. And that seems to be kind of the threshold. Like I was trying to lift a little bit and I kind of overdid it. So
Yeah, I think
yeah,
working
what did you
with
think about that?
you, I think that was the big thing with you is, it took you back to your weightlifting days and your sports days, and
Yeah.
you got into it and you wanted to lift a little bit harder than what your body was ready to do.
It's
But what
super
you're
hard
doing
for
now,
me.
I'm
See, like
impressed.
lifting with you, it was hard for me, or really anybody. I get that old competition mentality, and it's not I'm not competing with you, but I just feel like mentally, I feel like my old self, right?
Right,
So I'm like, okay, because I used to throw up some pretty good weight. I mean, I held the squat record at Lincoln High for so many years, and
right,
you know, and I was kicking butt for a while in that, and I power
right,
lifted. But you know, as I got older, I didn't need to push all that serious weight. I wasn't in competition anymore or doing any of that. I mean, football is different. You and I have talked about that.
right.
Football, you're taught to be super explosive, lift as much as you can, as hard as you
Yep,
can, and just push as if you're pushing a human being, which you do in front of you. I was on the line.
right.
I mean, that's all you do. I mean, you're colliding at all times, so you have to
Yep,
train a certain way. But now, when I go to the gym, I don't even. I just ignore all that, and I just go straight to cardio, which is not, you know, not me, man. That's it's not. I hated cardio for years. It's boring.
right.
I like walking outside. I like that type of stuff. But when it came to getting on a treadmill, like I would rather do anything than that. But now I love it. Like I'll put on a podcast or read, you know, do
Right.
like a book, audio book or something, and
Hmm.
I'll set it to a certain amount of time, and you know, at the end of it, I'm like, wow, I can go another 15 or 20 minutes.
Yep. And that's the big thing right there is like music, podcast, whatever. Just you do it. It relaxes you, you know.
Exactly. I
And
would hope people put on my podcast. Like that's, but then some people tell me that I have my voice is just not annoying enough where it's almost calming to people, and so then they'll probably just put them to sleep, you know, or maybe
right.
I'll calm them down. But you know, I would challenge anybody listening to put on my podcast, and I hope that you don't fall asleep, but I hope you get on that treadmill and it kind of like calms you and soothes you. So
Yep.
that's the goal anyway.
Yep. Yep. And
But
there are people that's their thing, like my girlfriend, she's real big into podcasts and motivational speakers and stuff like that. And that's just, what inspires her, like when she works out and she does things like that. So,
right.
you know, the big thing with working out is what people don't realize, and I can say it, stress and tension and all that stuff. If you have a lot of that stuff, it reduces the benefits of exercise. So if you can find something you can do that's going to relax you while you're exercising, you're going to have better benefits from that long term.
Well, you know, around this time of the year, you know, there's a lot of celebrating, there's a lot of drinking, there's a lot of eating. What do you say to people, especially people who are heavy drinkers? How does drinking affect your health?
Well, I think, I don't know, drinking, I mean, I don't drink at all.
Right.
I tell people weightlifting and exercising and stuff like that's my alcohol, but alcohol technically is a depressant.
Yeah.
And I mean, you feel like you're getting up and high. It's alcohol's hard on your kidneys and your liver and your organs and stuff like that. So while there's probably certain aspects that people might say are good about alcohol and stuff like that, it relaxes them. But I think ultimately in the long run, it's retards your body's ability to function the way it should, process the nutrients that you take in. I mean, there's a lot of side effects to it,
Well,
I think,
what would you say to what would you say to a client who says, you know, I want to get better, you know, I want to eat better and everything, but I'm a heavy drinker. What, you know, and I'm not trying to knock people. I get it, man. I mean, trust me, I was a person who has struggled with drinking my fill for years. And it's just because only because of my heart that I had to back off of
Right.
drinking all the time. Like I have partaken at times, but really it's kind of set my health back. So it's like I gotta like back away from it completely. But what would you say to somebody if they were your client and they said I was a heavy drinker? How would you approach that?
I don't know. I guess, you know, you'd have to, I'd work with them on like maybe trying to drink in moderation, try to figure out a way that they can curb that a little bit. I'm not going to say that drinking's all bad for you, and you know, a drink here or there is not going to
Yeah.
do you any harm. You know, usually it's just the excess and what, you know, the excess will do to you, you know. So I would encourage them to maybe drink in moderation, you know, put more focus on setting some goals
And
to
watch what
change
they
that
drink, right?
habit
I mean,
change.
some of those fruity drinks and stuff that they make at the bar are pretty sugar filled.
Right,
And so it's like even if you could switch to like a light beer or something, I know like I like drinking Corona on occasion. And
right.
I know the Corona, I think it's the Premier or whatever. I think it's like 80 calories I mean 80 calories a beer. That's not too bad.
No, it's not too bad.
So, you
And
know,
then,
I mean, and then I obviously have to drink in severe moderation now, but
yeah,
yeah, the
the
carbs
carbs
too.
and the alcohol, the beer, stuff like that, you know, if you drink in excess, you know, those aren't good for you. You
Yeah,
need carbs, but you want healthy carbs, you know?
right. Well, for the dumb person out there like myself, what is a healthy carb and what is a, you know, because I if I could eat potatoes all day long and everything, I would. You know, I mean, like they're
Right.
delicious in all forms.
Well, I mean, the biggest thing you need to think about with carbs probably is anything that's like refined, like a single chain carb, you
Hmm.
know, that's like a simple sugar, simple like that. Those aren't good for you.
Yeah,
Those deplete, you don't get any nutrition out of those. So I always tell people to get your carbs through like there's fruits, you know, there's vegetables, whole grains if you're going to do grains, but you know, do that in moderation because carbs in your body break down into sugars. So, you know, the more processed, the refined, like potatoes are high in starch, but you know, they're still good for you. You
right.
know, just so what I just tell people is just kind of reduce your carbs, no breaded foods, focus on your macros, you know, getting your proteins and your fats and all that,
Hmm.
reducing your carbs, but don't cut them all the way out, you know.
I know when I got on Weight Watchers, because that's what I used just to keep me accountable for what I was eating. I mean, it does work in its purest form. I mean, because you can eat whatever you want, right? But
Right,
you have to point it out and you have to be honest with the point system. You can't cheat it. And so what it trained me to do was not eat bread, not eat all this stuff because it wasn't within my points. I could eat it, but the
right,
you know some of the breads that I was liking were higher in point value. And then I
right.
noticed like I eat a lot of condiments. You know, I'm a ketchupaholic. I love ketchup. I had to switch
Hmm.
to like no sugar ketchup, and then I could, you know, if I drizzle it in certain ways, I can eat it in moderation. And
Right.
people don't realize how much they're consuming in sugar when they eat that stuff. I had
Oh
no
yeah.
idea. I was just piling it on.
Yeah. I mean, there's sugars in so many different things. And I'm a big fan of Weight Watchers only because of what you just said,
Yeah,
that if you don't cheat the system, you do it like you should, and they do encourage you to work out and exercise and do that, you know.
right.
I think if you do it Weight Watchers and just eat all the vegetables you can eat unlimited vegetables and you're not going to raise your points, you know, so you can
Exactly.
get full on those and then maybe have some little cheat points here or there, but you know, I think Weight Watchers does help a person get disciplined in a different way to eating healthy.
It's fantastic in my head because it's I would suggest it to anybody And it's not like, I mean, if Weight Watchers wants to pony up and sponsor me, that'd be wonderful. But
Right.
but I don't think that's gonna happen. But
No,
maybe if I get to be a bigger show, right? But this is
yeah,
the thing is it really did train my mind, to where it kind of fooled me, right? Because I'm
right.
so focused on the points that, oh darn it, it fooled me into eating well. And so
Yep.
instead I'm eating chicken and I'm eating salmon and eating these type of proteins to
Right.
fill up because the points are low. And then I'm
Right.
paying attention to what I'm putting on these things. I personally I'm a big salad eater anyway. I could eat salad for every meal and be happy, but
Right.
I can't eat it plain, like I got to eat like an Italian dressing or guy, I need pepperoncinis, I need all that stuff on it.
And there's where your points go up.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. The one that I found that's pretty good and it's delicious is for points is Olive Garden's light dressing. They have a light dressing.
Yeah.
And you can get a pretty far with that cuz I mean the vinegar based ones are good because you don't have to put as much on to get it to cover
Right.
the
Right. I like a good balsamic vinaigrette type
yeah,
thing.
yeah, for sure.
Low calorie, low salt, sugar. I'll do that.
Well, we've been super into eating salmon lately. Like we don't deep fry it. We do use the air fryer for some of this stuff, which I
Right.
don't know if that's better or not. It seems like it because I'm not adding oils to it really or anything. I'm just spicing it and throwing it in
Yeah,
there.
you kind of get the effects and taste of a deep fried
Yeah,
food without the grease and oil. It's a different way to cut those trans fats and those oils out of your diet.
absolutely. But I mean I've enjoyed it. I have it's been hard around the holidays. Like I didn't think I would cheat myself. But then here we are. If I screwed up and we ate McDonald's or something some night, it completely obliterates my points for the week. So
Right.
then I'm like, what do I do? Do I log it in? Yes, I have to log it in, but then it like ruins me all week. But you can get points back. I mean, you can all every time you work out, you get points for doing things. I mean,
Yep.
you can have points for I mean, as weird as it is to say, you're gonna get points for sexual activity. You can get points for all that. So it encourages you to do something, right? So
Right.
not that you need encouragement for that anyway. I mean, if you're into that sort
Right.
of thing, yeah, there's plenty of benefit. But
Yep. Well, that's one thing I encourage people to do when I train them is I let them know that it's okay to be bad once in a while because one backslide, allow yourself to have indulge in something that you want to do
right,
that makes you feel good. But the where it becomes a problem is if you let it become a habit again.
yeah,
So if you have a one big downfall, like you go get your Big Mac and all that, like you said, you can earn those points back. And that one Big Mac's not gonna, in the big picture, is probably not gonna hurt you that bad. As
right.
long as you don't revert back to doing it all the time.
Well, I've found really good ways to to make my own Big Macs at home. Like I'll make smash burgers with like a little bit of deer meat mixed with
Yeah,
hamburger. Lean it up. Make them. Smash burgers are great because they're still burgers, but they're just super
right,
thin, so you're not you
right.
get that whole effect. But then like
Mhm.
I'll eat them with like a carb balance tortilla and make
Yeah.
it into kind of like a burger taco, and so whatever works for people. There's a lot of things you can do, but there's
Hmm.
so much more to it than just the eating part. That's the thing is you gotta at some point you gotta move around, right?
Right. That's one of the biggest things I always tell people about, like especially older age people,
Hmm.
the best thing you can do is just get up and move.
Yeah.
Walk, go for a walk. I little stupid little things. I tell people take the stairs instead of the elevator or escalator. Um, you can do a double bonus is stress is hard on you as far as weight loss and all that. Reduce your stress and park a little bit further away in the parking lot and walk to the supermarket or to the store when you go shopping or whatever. You don't have the stress of trying to find that close parking spot and fight with somebody,
Yeah.
and you get a little extra movement,
And you don't
Simple
have the
things like
stress of
that can do big
somebody
wonders.
dinging your door, right? You don't have the stress of
Right.
somebody obliterating the side of your car because they park too close. So
Yep. Exactly. Right.
yeah.
My kids
Gene,
always tell me I always park in the back 40, and I've always told them, well, it's good for you. You get more steps in that way and you get exercise.
especially at like Walmart, like there's so much ground to cover there anyway. You just park like towards the back, you're away from all the weirdness that happens up front anyway, and you kind of
Yep.
just I don't know, it's kind of nice to get a little walk in. But I mean, what do you do? One thing I want to ask you before we go to break here is what does a person do like me who hates the cold? Okay. I absolutely can't stand the cold. I love walking outside in the summer, spring, parts of the fall. But once it gets cold, what do you do? I mean, I don't have I don't have a treadmill here. What would you suggest people do? I mean, do you think they get like a $10 Planet Fitness uh
Well, I've actually
membership and
gone into,
walk?
right. You can Planet Fitness is a $10 a month membership. There's a new gym opening up in Lincoln, Crunch Fitness.
Hmm.
I went over there and talked to some guys over there the other day about, the gym. My girlfriend wants to join, and she
Yeah,
wants to get into some of the boot camps and stuff like that that she can't do. Her
right.
type of lifting is different than what I do. I'll work with her in the garage and I'll do stuff, but she likes group fitness classes, so she's going to join there. But yeah, I mean, Planet Fitness, $10 a month. You can go in, you can row, you can bike, you can stair climb. And I've actually gone into people's houses and put them on a workout, things they can do inside their house without weights,
Yeah.
without joining a gym. If you don't have a gym or don't have the money to do it, I can show you things you can do at your house in your free time.
Well, you can do the old prison workout if you want. I mean, you're talking about lifting milk jugs. I mean, you could
Yeah.
literally fill them with water and just get moving. You know what I mean? Different amount. If
Yeah.
you can't afford, that's something that I think is viable to the listener. As we've talked about, that is just anything that you can lift. You could lift soup cans. You could do all that. If you don't have the equipment at home, if you can't afford it, but
Oh,
you
yeah.
have this stuff, you can make it available to you. You can do
Yeah.
body weight workouts, right? You can do about anything.
Yep, you can. I mean, like I said, I'm a no excuse person. There's no excuse for you to not be able to do something, like my wife's, well, not my wife, but my girlfriend's mom. I have her do like little leg extensions while she's watching Hallmark movies, or when she's in the kitchen, I'll have her curling some cans of soup and lifting and doing some shoulder workouts, or walking up and down the stairs, simple things like that that you can do inside your house while you're doing other things that you enjoy, and
Yeah.
you can do static workouts where you push your arms up against the wall and hold it for 5 or 10 seconds. You push in, push out. You can, so it's a static workout. I got wall exercises with shoulder exercises that I've helped people with shoulder rehab.
Right.
It's a wall touch workout where you use your shoulders and you can rehab a shoulder. I did that actually with Carl Hinckley. You
Hmm.
just had a podcast with the BMXer.
Yeah.
My boy does BMX out of the Nowhere compound, and I've actually helped Carl Hinckley. He couldn't touch his chest while bench pressing, and I've helped him just with doing exercises like I just talked about.
Yeah, for
No
sure.
weightlifting, and he's his shoulders recovering.
Was he injured BMXing or what was
Yeah, he had a real bad injury and he had surgery on it, but he never rehabbed it like he should, and he let the muscles kind of atrophy, so he couldn't move his shoulders in certain ways.
right?
So when he came over, his daughter's actually dating my boy,
Okay.
but he come over for Christmas one time. We went out in my gym out in the garage, and I was working with him on some static exercises and shoulder workouts, the wall touches, and then I had him get on the bench, and I taught him a technique of benching where he was actually able to touch the bar to his chest, and he said he hadn't done that for 10 plus years.
Awesome, man.
And now he's been keeping it up, and he said his shoulders more limber, and he's riding bikes,
Yeah.
puts a lot of stress on those shoulders.
Well, I
So
I
yeah.
know I know I'm a true testament as well of your work and how good you can do as a trainer. Hopefully hopefully you get kind of a clientele going on here over time. I'm hoping this podcast helps. I mean, if there's anybody listening who does need just some help or some advice, I would definitely get a hold of Gene. I mean, we'll at the end of the podcast here, we'll give yeah, we'll give you a way to get a hold of him or whatever. But I would suggest you do that. But right now, Gene, I got to pause here shortly for sponsors. I've got some good sponsors now. I want to mention a few right now. Roots Music Shop here in Lincoln, Nebraska. It's right down there by the university. Ryan's a wonderful owner, and he's got everything you need down there. Just tell him the Cain sent you, and I'm sure he'll give you the hookup. Also, Sly Ink Tattoo. If you need your tattoos, I know Gene's got a couple tattoos.
Mhm.
He needs some more. He needs to go visit Bryce at Sly Ink. And we've got the Elegant Sasquatch, which we'll be running the ads right now. And, I just want to thank my sponsors, and we're going to take a little pause here, and we will be back with Gene Main here in a few.
Hey there, grooming gurus. We've got something wild for you today.
That's right, folks. Get ready to tame the untamed with products that redefine the beard game. Introducing the Elegant Sasquatch Grooming Company.
Elegant Sasquatch, that sounds like a contradiction, doesn't it?
Well, grooming should be an adventure, my friend, and with these products, you'll embark on a journey to the grooming wilderness.
So, what makes the Elegant Sasquatch so unique?
It's all about taking your beard from beastly to beautifully wild. Picture this, you wake up and your beard looks like it just got back from a spa day. That's the magic of their high-end beard balms.
Spa day for the beard? Sign me up. And let's not forget their beard butters and oils. It's like giving your beard a tropical vacation. I'm talking about a beach party for your facial hair.
A beach party for the beard. This company's got the best marketing ever.
Oh, but we're not done yet, folks. The Elegant Sasquatch Grooming Company also has beard washes that make shower time a majestic experience.
Showering with Sasquatch, that sounds like a reality show.
It does, but seriously, listeners, if you want to sophisticate your outer beast, head over to elegantsasquatchco.etsy.com and use the code SUPERSHOW at checkout for an exclusive discount of 20% off.
You can also find them on Facebook and Instagram. Check them out, like them, and while you're at it, tell them the Super Show sent you.
All right, we're back from our break, and thanks again to my sponsors. I hope you guys enjoyed the new commercial that I have running now for the Elegant Sasquatch. All you bearded, lovely gentlemen out there, smell like egg because egg's all in your beard. Get this good stuff, and it'll make you smell better, and your lady will thank you for it. So I'm back here with Gene Main, and Gene, first off, I want to finally come clean as to why I called you Chuck all this time, and I
Okay.
was embarrassed about it I was convinced that I probably called you. So we had some neighbors years ago. They were an older couple, and they were named Gene and Chuck. And so every time I think of those names, Gene and Chuck, I think of them. So when I saw when my mind would see your name and I would start putting it together, I would just instantly call you Chuck for whatever reason. So you're probably like, man, this guy's an idiot. Like, how many times have we been around each other and he's still calling me by the same name? So
Right.
there is a reason for it.
Right. Yep. You've explained that to me. That's funny because I've never been called Chuck before, but as long as you don't call me Chucky, right?
That's right. Yeah, you don't want to be called Chucky, and you don't want to be called late for dinner, right? That's
That's
the old.
right.
So we're getting back to talking about fitness and health. I think it's important. You're probably the first person that I've had talk about health on my show, and I think that it is extremely important. I don't think that some of the decisions I made probably contributed to my health issues, but a lot of it was genetics and everything else. It
Right.
wasn't like I was doing you know piles of meth and everything else. It was
Right.
just the lottery of it, right? And I could sit
Right.
around and boohoo and woe is me, but instead I try to embrace life and just look at it as, every day's a gift. every second that I'm here. It's great being able to sit here and talk to you. A few
Right.
years ago, I thought to myself, that's probably I had no future and nothing was ever going to happen. So,
Right.
I do appreciate your friendship and the things that you've done to help me. But what can you do to help people like myself? Like I personally, I have a pacemaker, so I can't push it too hard. I also have
Right.
heart failure, so I really can't push it too hard in that respect. Well, what would you do for somebody like that?
Well, like what I did with you, I researched pacemakers. I watched some podcasts on people that had pacemakers and worked out and lived a normal life with it.
Hmm.
And so when I started working with you, I just had an idea of what I could do with you working out that would benefit you. And I knew basically the biggest thing with you is I knew that I had to keep your heart rate down at a certain level.
Yeah,
You can't go above a certain percentage of your max with the pacemaker.
right.
Um, I taught you breathing exercises you could do that, like the evasive valving, the holding your breath. A lot of people do that when they work out, hold their
Yeah,
breath. That's actually not good for your heart. A young person can do that, but somebody with heart issues can't do that because it shuts your heart down for a second and there's no blood pumping and it can cause issues with you. So you got to avoid that. So I worked with you on breathing. I'm the same with somebody that might have high blood pressure, things like that. I just have to work. I've learned to work with that through some of my classes that I've taken on training and all that. Like pretty much any like diabetes, all that stuff. There's certain things that you can and can't do. You gotta understand how the insulin, lowers when somebody exercises, their insulin goes down, so the blood sugar affects their blood sugar. Osteoporosis. I've worked with people on that. Arthritis. Big thing with arthritis is just keeping people moving.
right.
Exercising. Don't People think that when they got something like condition like that, they have to quit lifting, but really the blood flow through your bones and all that help the arthritis, minimize the effects of it. Stuff
Well, and
like that.
an interesting thing with what I have is I have a pretty new model pacemaker. So the pacemaker that I have, it actually they can set it to go up as I'm working out. You know what I mean? So it's
Right.
like instead of having, like initially they set it at like a cool 70 BPM, like just
Right.
keep you chilled out. But over time, yeah, like that's pretty low, man. But
Right. Yeah, it is really low.
and then if you
It's like,
start
oh, that's
pushing it, you
resting
start getting
almost.
real tired. Yeah. But now it like adjusts to what I'm doing. So if I go up the stairs or I got to the point where I can actually go up the stairs. At first, I couldn't even go up the block without getting too tired.
Right.
And now I'm able to do some things. But I mean, I'm not healed, I'm not perfect. I'm gonna live with this forever.
Right.
But I mean, it is what it is, right? So the way I look at it is this, like, you know, the problem with it is the medications. That's the hard thing. So I'm on a lot of medications that make me really dizzy. They make me
Right.
super tired. They do all this stuff. And that adds a certain caveat to what you're doing. So I'm sure that I was an interesting case for you to try to work with, but I thought you did a good job.
You were good for me. It caused me to really think about, what I was doing because I might have to deal with somebody like that, with the
Yeah.
pacemaker or even like a heart transplant or all that stuff. There's just so much, that a person has, I have to educate myself on, so that I can help that person. Kind of like I just wanted to be able to help you,
Yeah.
you know, and I know that even a moderate amount of exercise is still good for you.
Right.
You just had to find what was going to work with you, your meds, your pacemaker,
Yeah.
So,
Well, it was a learning curve for sure. Like you said, as I was lifting with you, I was trying to push it too hard. I know and it wasn't any of your fault. It was all my fault. But I pushed myself too hard at one point, you know. And it
Right.
really kind of like I can definitely feel it because my body just like does this massive swing, and it's like it's a different type of it's a different type of tired. Like I don't know if people understand. Like it's like a whole body tired. Like your body
Right.
just crashes, shuts down, and so it's different. But
Yeah, it's I can't imagine because your heart's such a intricate part of the oxygen flow in your body, and the oxygen in your blood and all that is what gives you energy and
yeah,
helps you feel that strength and stuff. And you know, you probably when you get tired, you get like really tired because of the oxygens and
yeah.
levels go down, or if it affects those a little bit.
Well, and like the diuretics and stuff I'm on, you know, to
Yeah,
control my is really hard on you. Like right now, even, you know, I'm starting my voice is starting to get hoarse and everything. And it's some of these medications I'm on, they really dehydrate me. And so they tell
right,
me like only drink like 60 some ounces a day of water, which is impossible, especially
right,
when you're dehydrated. But
right,
you kind of just learn your body. Like health is such a
right.
crazy thing, but I would just suggest to everybody and the whole point of this is to just tell people, like basically like a PSA, you know, like a after school special, is just work out a little bit, just do something. You know,
Yeah,
your life is not too complicated that you can't do something. I mean, 20 minutes a day of walking is nothing. It's great
right.
to get the air, just do something. That really
Well,
is.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like I tell older people close to my age, I always hear this and it just kind of drives me crazy is I'm too old to work out anymore. I can't do that anymore. And I'm like, you know what? When you quit moving and you quit working out, you get old,
Yeah.
you know?
That's when you're
So,
truly old, right? But I mean,
right.
what's crazy is people look better these days. Like when I think of like old people, like my grandparents and stuff, like they look like they were 100. You know, like I'll bet my grandparents were like your age back then when I was like a kid, and they looked like old. But then when I see you, I mean, you don't look 58 at all, man. I mean, I'll bet when you hit your 70s, you're gonna look like a 50-year-old. You know what I mean? Like that's the crazy part, man.
You know, I don't know. I hope so. But, you know,
Yeah,
I do feel blessed. I
yeah,
feel like, I mean, truly, one of my biggest things is the blessing of the health that God's given me. And He's given me the mindset to always be active and take good care of myself, you know, and I appreciate my body and I appreciate this temple that God's given me to live in, and I'm going to take care of it, you know.
yeah. Well, and another thing about you that I've noticed is you're a good person. You know, like I think you exude that type of thing where you get I can tell that you're care. I mean, you cared enough. You know, you didn't know me that well when you decided to help me, but you do it out of your good nature, and you're a good person. But I think there's something to be said. And I've talked about this in other podcasts about the power of being positive, right?
Right,
Positive thinking is everything. And it sounds like it sounds so cliche, like somebody's doing like public speaking, like, oh, be positive. But it
right.
really is true. If you sit around in the negative, like right now, for example, if I sat around the negative and thought to myself, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die tomorrow, it's over for me, then
Right.
I mean, then that's probably what's gonna happen, right? Your body's gonna just if you do
Yep.
nothing, you're gonna end up being nothing. So it's like you might as well get off your butt and do something. But I really do think you're a positive person. Well, how do you remain positive even in you know when you're tired and all of this? Like, how do you remain positive all these years?
I don't know. I guess I just, you know, like I said, weightlifting is my alcohol, my drug.
Mhm.
It's my therapy. It's something that I can do, and music. So when I go to the gym and work out, like in my garage or go to this thing, when I'm having just really, really, really down, I can go work out. But that's my personality where I can just go work out, and I work out all those stresses and things that, you know, get me down, or I can think about how negative life is, had a bad work week, you know, whatever. And then, so I listen to music, I work out. I think that's a healthy out. And then, like I said, I read. And like I said, I'm appreciative of my body and what God's given me. My
Right.
kids, I live for my kids. I always want them to see a positive side of me, and I always try to be a good example to them. And like, just I look at life different, I guess.
Right.
I try to see the good in life and the positive through no matter what happens to me. I've experienced a lot in my life growing up. Don't want to go into that. And another reason I've gotten into the weightlifting is because of my upbringing and, multiple families I've been a part of and financial, all that stuff. But
Yeah.
I don't think about that. All that stuff's been a blessing because it's made me a better person. And
Well,
I
and
can
you
appreciate where other people come from.
exactly, and you seem to embrace life in the way that I feel like a person should. I mean, you're biking, you're kayaking, you're doing all this stuff. You're just enjoying life. You're taking care of your kids. I think the cutest video I've ever seen is you and your grandkid lifting,
Yeah.
next to each other. That's a
To
pretty
me, that's like one of my biggest things. I always was active with my kids, running with them. We did the torch run for the Cornhusker State Games every year because it was a way of being active with them. My daughter and I went to the gym and worked out. She was always big into athletics and working out like me.
yeah.
Um, but having my grandson come up and tell me he wants to be strong like Papa, and he comes over to my house now. I bought him a gym, that little weight set for his birthday, and every day he comes over to our house. He says, "Papa, we go work out." I mean, to me, that's a big motivator for me to keep myself active because I want to be able to keep encouraging him to have that mindset and, be able to be active with him because I know he's going to be active long into life, with that attitude.
Yeah,
I
you're
love being
setting a
that
huge
inspiration
example.
to my grandson.
Yeah, you're setting an amazing example for him, and that's something that'll stick with him. I mean, I never worked out with my grandparents, you know, like that
Right?
wasn't even on the plate, like I can't think of we worked. I mean, like don't get me wrong, when we'd go down to my grandparents' house down in the Ozarks, they had a massive property and we worked like every day. So like one thing I can say is I got really good work ethic from that.
Yeah,
We got up early in the morning, we ate breakfast, we worked, we did all this stuff, but we got to do fun things too. But they
yeah,
showed me like what it's like to really put in a day's work.
right.
So I mean, you're leading good example. But the thing with you that really blew me away was when I found out that you can also dance and you can skate like a mother too, man. Like you're the full package, man.
Roller skating, something I did along with weightlifting growing up. I got on a skate team and
Yeah.
bought some roller skates, and I lived in the skating rink for, 5, 6 days a week, growing up in the 80s. And my mom was a dancer. And so I guess music and dancing kind of came natural. And then as I got older, I met up with some friends that liked to country dance, and I'd never country dance. I was a big headbanger, big rock, heavy metal guy.
Yeah.
And they introduced me to country music, and I started dancing, and I learned how to dance, and I enjoy it. Dancing's a fun, healthy outlet, and it's active, and I
Right.
enjoy it.
Well, and it's not bad with the ladies. I mean, you got your lady. It's not bad to be able to take her out there and dance with her.
No, when I learned how to dance in my early 20s and started going to country bars dancing, I mean, it's kind of nice as a 20-year-old not to have to ask a girl to dance because, they're coming up asking you to dance, and then you're teaching people to dance, and so I enjoyed that. I taught country dance lessons for a while.
Man, I'm envious. I can remember back when I was in high school watching like this will date me for sure, but like MTV's The Grind, and they would
Right.
have dancing on, and like I would like jokingly with my friends like just like dance and try to like do what they're doing and everything. But I could never
Right.
dance. Like I was always envious of those guys at like I remember my brother could dance pretty good and everything. But man, you guys it just blows me away. Like, and then as I became a singer and an entertainer, there'd be guys like you out there. We'd play some country songs and different things, and they get their lady out on the dance
Right.
floor. And that's like the biggest compliment as a musician is to have people dance to your music. Like
Right. Yeah. It makes you feel good when people get up. But, well, I'm
man.
going to tell you, I'm jealous of your singing because I can't sing worth nothing.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask. Can you sing? Because if you can, I'm just gonna throw in the towel today and call it a day.
No, I've gotten up at karaoke and sang and done things, but no, I'm not a singer. I can't carry a tune worth anything. But my gift in music, I guess, is the fact that I can dance and get that from my mom. My mom was a big dancer, so she always danced with me all the time growing up.
Man, that's awesome. Well, Gene, I warned you that usually I ask people some weird questions, so I won't get too weird with you. But I do want to ask you. I think I would be cheating the audience if I didn't do what I always do. So I'm gonna, I am kind of a spooky guy. I like to look into like ghosts and do investigation stuff like that. Have you ever had any brushes with the paranormal or anything out of the ordinary? Have you ever seen a ghost? Do you even believe in ghosts?
Well, I can't ever say that I've had it. And I will say that I'm probably not a big believer in it, but I do find it interesting. And my girlfriend believes in it, and her son goes to someplace up in Omaha where there's ghosts and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what the name of the place is, and they're into it. And I enjoy listening to the stories, and I'm not going to say that there isn't any.
Yeah,
I do believe in a spiritual world, and I believe that it's possible.
exactly. Well, even from a religious standpoint, I mean, I tell people this all the time. It's not too far fetched to think that it's out there. I mean, if you take the Bible for example, the Bible, the Quran, all they're very supernatural books in
Yep.
things that they talk about. I think that the stuff that we don't understand, there's probably just a bigger picture to all of this that we can't quite figure out, right? Because we're not meant
Yep.
to figure it out until we die.
I,
But it's definitely interesting to hear all the ghost stories of everyone. I was just curious because I've never really talked to you about ghosts. I
yeah.
wanted to at least try to get it out of you, but it doesn't sound
No.
like you've really
Yeah, that's all
doesn't
good.
sound like you brushed with it yet. But when you do, I want you to come back on the show and I want you to tell me right away. All right.
Yeah, I'll do that. I mean, I've been out and about at night in some pretty weird situations, and
Yeah.
been in some creepy houses too. So I don't know.
It's hard to say, man. There's a lot of crazy things going on in the world. But what one thing is always constant is weightlifting, running, all that stuff, fitness and health. It's
Yep.
always going to be there for the taking, right? If
Yep.
people want to do it. So, that's one thing is if you're a ghost hunter, you have to move around a lot. I mean, especially if you're doing it outside. So
Yeah.
that I can add that to your repertoire of things to do is add like ghost hunter fitness because you really got to kind of get the fitness up if you're going to do some of this.
Yep.
So
Yep. Especially if
that
you
could
see
add
one, you
to
try
it.
to run.
Well, in closing here, because we're getting close to the end of the show, I want to give you an opportunity to tell people, especially in the Lincoln area, how they can get a hold of you and where they can see some of your content. So I'm going to give you the time right now to promote whatever you want to promote.
Well, I've got talked into doing a TikTok page, so I do post videos on TikTok. I go under Health Maniac,
Okay.
and then I do have uh, a group fitness type or group page on Facebook that my girlfriend and I do called Health Maniac 101. It's kind of a site where it's just all about being accountable and helping people out, talking, setting goals,
Right.
encouraging each other to get out and get fit. So I'm working on some videos that I'm going to do for that for the new year, trying to get that group a little more active. It's mostly older women. I'm the only guy on it. But and then my email address is maniac66@gmail.com. You can get a hold of me there.
Okay.
Probably be a good place.
My dogs are hollering at you. They must agree with what you're saying because either we have a delivery or they agree with what you're saying or both. So
I am looking at getting a Rottweiler, by the way.
are you really? Like as a
I
puppy?
applied for adoption of a rescue Rottweiler, 11-month-old female.
Nice. Well, I'll look forward to. I hope you guys do get that. I'll look for. We love all dogs, although Rottweilers terrify me. But I guess if I meet them at a younger age, maybe
Yeah.
they won't be so
I've
scared.
done research on them. I think like a pit bull, it's all about how you raise them, how you train them, time that you spend with them. I know one guy I know lives next door to my friend Doug. He's a highway patrolman, and I met his Rot, and it's the nicest dog you can imagine. But he says he's very protective and he's very gentle and stuff. So
Yeah.
they've never had any issues with him. So
Well, and they're cool looking dogs. I mean, they're just like little bears,
yeah,
They're beasts.
yep.
Well,
So
Gene, I want to thank you so much for your time on the show. I'd like to get you back on the show some other time. You're always welcome, but thank you so much for being a guest on the show. And I hope that people got something out of what we talked about today. The theme of this is just get moving, everybody.
yep. I hope people enjoyed it.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, sir. And I will talk to you again soon.
Sounds awesome. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot.
It's the Cain Stevens Super Show. Scenic, Lincoln, Nebraska. Here is your host, Cain.